I am a chronic overthinker, and what better project to push my overthinking to its limits than building my first custom mechanical keyboard. I'm going to be buying a bare bones keyboard, which typically includes a case and all the electronics pre-soldered so I don't have to do my least favorite activity in the world, second to taking out the trash. And I'll be picking out the switches and keycaps to go with it. Then I'll also be showing my building process as well. But first, why get a mechanical keyboard? This right here is the first mechanical keyboard I've ever owned. It was only $50 off of Amazon with some linear red switches, and this was one of the first big girl purchases I made out of college after my Nintendo Switch. Having a nice feeling keyboard has made my typing experience so much more enjoyable, or maybe just less intolerable, and I wanted to build my own so that I could customize every single aspect of it to my liking. So with that, let's talk about picking the parts. Budget-wise, I did not want to spend more than about $100, and to many ardent keyboard fans, that is considered a budget keyboard. But I am not one of those fanatics, and I can tell you that you can definitely get something decent and luxurious feeling with that kind of budget or even less. I know most people will start out by picking out a board first, but I'm all about doing things unconventionally on this channel, you know? Do whatever works for you. It's not like we're building airplane doors here or anything. So the very first thing I looked into were keycaps. Keycaps were 100% my main motivation for building my own keyboard because aesthetics. But there were just so many options. I like the minimalistic, soft, clean aesthetic, but I also like the maximalist, cute, bubbly aesthetic with novelty keycaps and silly fonts. And before you dismiss this as all just an aesthetic decision, no. There are also so many different keycap profiles you can choose from too that affect your typing ergonomics. You have your standard OEM profile, which my old keyboard probably has, and it's the standard commonly seen in pre-built keyboards. There's also cherries, which are slightly taller OEMs, and XDAs, and SAs, and MLAs, and many more, which are all supposed to feel and sound different based on the curvatures of the keycaps, and heights of the keys, and relative heights of each row of keys. But wait, there's more. You can also have low-profile keycaps and different materials of keycaps like PBT or ABS plastic, and even ceramic, wood, or metal keycaps. And if you go with a plastic keycap, there's double shot versus disublimation manufacturing processes, which differ in durability and range of design choices, and also different brands can have different thicknesses, which all contribute to the sound, look, and feel of the keycaps. I spiraled and looked at a bajillion TikToks, articles, product pages, and in the end, I made a very scientifically backed decision. I just went by aesthetics. Because I do not know where to try out all these keycaps in LA, let me know if there are any places, but I've never even touched most of these profiles with my own fingers before, except the OEM profile, so I literally have no idea what they feel like, and no amount of reading reviews online is going to help with that. It's all preference anyway, and I don't know how much time and brain cells I wasted on overthinking this. So I settled on these Green Panda Dye-Sub PBT MOA profile keycaps. They are so cute. But soon afterwards, I started getting second thoughts. Is this too bold and busy for my desk? What if the Dye-Sub designs rub off quickly? What if these keycaps don't look good in the case I pick? What if they don't fit with the switches? But there's no time for second thoughts because this video needs to be made and we still have to pick out the rest of the keyboard. The biggest question going through my head at this point was, do all keycaps even fit on all types of switches? So I did some research, and turns out my worry about the switches not being compatible with the keycaps was completely unwarranted. Most switches you'll find on the market will look like this, with a cross mount on its stem. But there are some other variations of that, which also work. Make sure you look for those crisscross stems and you'll probably be fine. The primary choice I had to make when picking my switches was whether I wanted it to be linear, tactile, or clicky. Linear switches feel smooth all the way down, while tactile clicky switches have a bump in the middle. And clicky switches are also accompanied by an audible clicking sound. If you value your relationships with your roommates, significant others, or coworkers sharing an office space, I would recommend not getting clicky switches. I personally like linears the best, so I focused my search on those. But your options do not stop there, obviously. This is the mechanical keyboard hobby after all, and I am very skilled at helping you overthink everything. Different switches also have different actuation forces for how hard or lightly you press when typing, different pre-travel and bottom-out distances, different top housing materials, different stem materials, and different colors for no good reason. They can be factory lubed or unlubed, come with LED light diffusers or without, and they all produce different timbres and resonances when you pair them with with different keycaps and different plate and case materials. I spent hours going down internet rabbit holes and listening to Switch testing videos instead of just buying my own Switch tester. In terms of sound, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, so please don't cancel me for this, but I think most Switches sound fine.
Except clicky blue switches.
Like, I don't think they sound all that different, at least over videos. Maybe my ears are just bad, but I like how most keyboards sound.
Except clicky blue switches.
So I realized I don't care too much about what switches I get. Yes, as long as they're not blue
switches.
switches. So I picked these switches up from Amazon because I wanted a pre-looped linear switch with a light to medium actuation force. The LED light diffuser was also a nice perk. And I wanted a green one to match my keycaps, and this was totally necessary because you can totally still see the switches after you put the keycaps on.
You can't.
I've watched enough keyboard videos to know that I should loop even factory loop switches because factory looping is not the best quality. So I spent the next few days wondering if I should loop them, and finally I bit the bullet and started researching loops. If you do want to loop your switches, it seems like Krytox is the most popular brand. So that begged the question for me as a BS chemical engineer, what the heck is Krytox made out of? Oh. PFAS is linked to a lot of bad stuff that I won't get into, so I decided not to hand lube my switches. Now that we have switches and keycaps, we just need the stuff that they'll all sit on top of, which is the case and the PCB and all the other good stuff that no one wants to look at but makes the whole thing actually work. I put this off till the end because this was a big ticket item that I was just being really indecisive about. So my first dilemma was connectivity. I couldn't decide whether I was okay with just a wired keyboard because those tend to be much cheaper and more reliable, or if I wanted the wireless connectivity option. The main reason I ended up going with the wireless option was because I run two computers on my same desk setup for work and personal use, so I thought it would be nice to be able to have one keyboard that I can switch between both on. My next dilemma was size. I currently use this full-size or 100% keyboard, but I don't like how long it is and how far apart my hands have to be when I'm using a mouse and keyboard at the same time. Plus, I only very occasionally use my numpad. So I knew I wanted something shorter. There are so many sizes you can choose from. Some common ones I've seen are TKL or 80%, which is just missing a numpad. There's also 75%, which also gets rid of some more keys that no one probably uses and compacts the remaining keys together. And then you can also go down to 60%, which gets rid of the FN keys too, which I know a lot of you gamers and Excel monkeys can't live without. Some keyboards also come with a knob which you can program, and I think they look adorable. Of course, there are still more options to choose from as you have to decide what material of case you want, aluminum versus plastic being common options, PCB mounting styles like gasket mounted or top or bottom mounted depending on how you like it to feel, and also make sure it's hot swappable, which basically every single kit I found on the market is, so you don't have to solder your switches, which trust me, you probably don't want to. Different keyboard kits also come with different amounts of padding inside, like layers of foam and other mysterious stuff that is supposed to dampen the sound and make it pleasant on your ears, but I think that's beyond the scope of this video. Also, different keyboards support different software for you to customize your keys, and others also have their own proprietary software. I looked extensively into keyboard kits and finally picked this one. I chose a TKL keyboard with an aluminum frame because I liked the hefty feel of it. It's gasket mounted with south-facing LEDs, but it does not have the best software support, nor does it have the knob that I wanted, but I think those are okay trade-offs for me. After I ordered it, I started getting really concerned that my MOA keycaps wouldn't look good on a TKL keyboard because for some reason I've only seen people put MOA keycaps on 75% or smaller boards, but I guess I won't know without trying it out, right? Let's build a keyboard! So I think most kits come with pre-installed stabilizers or stabs for some of your bigger keys. I think some people like to replace them, but I'm too lazy to do that. Let's just use these. When you're putting on a switch, you really want to make sure that these pins are straight. Otherwise, they're going to be really hard to insert and you'll probably bend the pins, which you don't really want. So yeah, basically just pop all of those switches into the hot swap sockets. It was kind of frustrating at times getting that alignment right, but I did eventually get it all done without gaining too many more gray hairs. And now let's play a game of guess which switch Cindy's gonna pop the next keycap onto. Because why do things in order when you can do them not in order? I feel like I've been putting in switches and keycaps for hours, but it is finally done. This is so adorable beyond all of my expectations. Now let's plug it in and see if it actually lights up. Whoa, that is so pretty. Do you wanna try my keyboard?
Sure.
Wow, so fast. Rate my keyboard.
I don't like the profile. I think it's because my fingertips are a little callous and it feels like it's bouncing off of it a little bit.
Okay.
It's 10 out of 10 cute. And the sound is just
I think it's louder than I thought it would be,
Sounds
so
different.
I wish it would be a little bit quieter. So maybe for me it's like a 7 out of 10 sound. I'm so happy! I'm so happy! I love it!
Bye-bye.
But anyway, in my next video, I'll be overthinking my desk setup, revamp, and incorporating this new keyboard into it, so stay tuned for that, and see you then. Bye! I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go, it went in. Nice. Now I just gotta do that like 80 more times? I don't know.